Recently, Donald Trump made history by setting a first-year record as President of the United States for having taken the most vacation days of anyone else who's ever held that job. But not to outdo himself, he also recently passed another milestone and set another first-year record as President of the United States. But like the vacation record, this is also not one that he should be bragging about. Recently, Donald Trump passed the mark and became the first-year president with the highest rate of turnover of anyone who has ever been the president of the United States. 34% of his staff since January 20th, 2017 has either been fired, resigned, or removed from their position and moved to a different position within the White House. 34%. Prior to Donald Trump, the highest percentage of turnover that a first-year president ever saw was Ronald Reagan in 1981, where 17% of his original staff was gone by the end of the year. Donald Trump has doubled that in just 1 year, 34%. And these aren't small little White House staffer positions we're talking about either. 21 of the 61 people who have left have been senior members of the White House or other government agencies that have been serving in their position even before Donald Trump came into office. They didn't want to work with him, they didn't want to be a part of it, so they resigned, they were fired, or they simply moved to another department. We've seen a lot of that within the EPA and all of the cuts that Trump has made. But it's the White House inner circle that really has drawn the most attention. Sean Spicer, Steve Bannon, Gorka, Scaramucci, all of those people have either been fired or resigned. Most of them, in fact, all of that group, before the end of the summer. Donald Trump can't keep staffers because nobody wants to work with him. I have to imagine it probably is one of the most soul-crushing and disgusting jobs available for anyone in the United States. So what's he left with? Kellyanne Conway? Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is that it? Really? Those two people? Those are the ones he decides to stick with? Kellyanne Conway, the woman who invented a fake terrorist attack in Kentucky. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who has a real problem with ever saying anything that's actually honest. Those are the two that get to stick around? I know we've had racists and people with neo-Nazi ties that have served in the Trump administration that have gone. But at this point, I think the ethics displayed by both Conway and Huckabee Sanders have been among the worst of anyone who has served in this administration this year. In fact, to be honest, I'm quite shocked that it's only 34% when you consider the amount of reports that have come out in the last year saying how terrified staffers within the White House are. They're terrified to look at Trump. They're terrified to be around him. They tell us that he's prone to temper tantrums and throwing things at the television and these angry outbursts. They've told us that at one point they had to turn in their cell phones when they got to work just to make sure that nobody was leaking any information outside to the press. So 34%, even though it is twice as high as the previous record, is actually pretty good when you consider the fact that Donald Trump is a disgusting pig of a human being that nobody wants to work for. He treats people like crap. So to only have a 34% turnover actually isn't that bad for a guy like him. If you're thinking about subscribing to our channel, I strongly encourage you to do that. But if you're not thinking about subscribing, I would encourage you to start thinking about it, and then once you're thinking about it, actually go and do it. You can see the subscribe button right there on the screen, or if you're watching on a different platform, go to youtube.com/theringofFire.